It's been a long time for not taking any video. Today I'm going to compare two of my lenses. They are both 35mm and 35mm f1.4. So the one on my left is a Voigtlander VM 35mm 1.4, which has 9 blades, and it is actually the same design as the first generation Leica Summilux steel rim, and it's in the black one. And for the one on my right, it's actually the 35mm f1.4 Leica Summilux, which is a current edition 11663. It is also called the floating element. Also has 9 blades. So the reason why I call floating element, it is because the rear element is actually in a group. While you're focusing, the whole group is actually moving forward or moving backwards for higher resolution and also sharpness. So I also heard about the saying, so the best one, the sharpest one, should be the 35mm f1.4 aspherical and AA lens, which is produced in the 90s. But they said that because that lens is actually too expensive, someone said that if the money is yours, then buy the floating element. But if you're spending someone else's money, you can buy 35mm f1.4 Summilux AA, which is the best one. But that one is way out of my budget. And the reason why I compare these two lenses is because that they have the same focal length and also the same aperture. This one is actually my very first 35mm lens. By that time, I only had 2 lenses when I started. The first one was a 50mm Summilux f1.4, and after using that, I find that I need to use a 35mm lens, but by that time, I don't have the money for buying a Leica one. So that's the reason why I bought this, to try the 35mm focal lens to see if I like this one. And after that, because it is a Leica camera, so eventually you need to try a Leica lens. And also I was curious if the Leica lens is any good. That's why I bought this one. So originally, those two actually bought them brand new. This one I bought it from the Leica boutique store. This one I actually bought it online. So they are all brand new. This lens here, it actually comes with a vented hood, which looks like the 12504 Leica hood, but it does not look like the hood of the steel rim. And for that hood, if you mount it on top, actually when you take a picture wide open, and then it will have the dark corners. And for this hood here, it's actually not influencing any picture if you take a picture fully wide open. And it's like a screw metal hood. I really like the metal hood over the plastic hood. And you can see part of the lens is actually hiding in the hood part. That's why it looks a little bit smaller, but still it's a decent size. The only downside about the 35mm f1.4 would be the size of it. I don't like the size of it, but the focusing tab is very convenient as always. The focusing tab of the 35mm f1.4 Voigtlander lens at the same time, it's kind of too small, and it's just too small for my fingers and a little bit hard to focus. And also, I'm going to compare the image quality of these two lenses. I'm going to give you guys some samples. So I put my camera actually on a tripod and taking picture of the same object at different apertures to compare these two lenses. You guys can guess which one is which. And the last picture is going to tell you the answer. So there here are all the pictures. So from the very first one, you can notice that the Voigtlander lens, the color is actually a bit warm, and the center resolution, they are kind of very similar, and also the bokeh is very similar as well. But from f2, it is very obvious that the Leica's bokeh is much better than the Voigtlander one. And the reason why I don't like the Voigtlander, it is because of, it's also showing on the very last picture, it is because of its distortion. It is way too much. Even if you put like a door frame or a door which cannot be a curve on the side of the frame, and after taking picture to compare directly with any Leica lens, the distortion is way too much than I expected. Before I didn't really notice that, and also because it actually looks like a steel frame, which I cannot afford, so I just like to use it. And after noticing the distortion, I just kind of use it less and less. As you can see here, this lens is actually still looks like a brand new one. I have been left it in my helmet control box for a couple years already. The only reason why I keep it is because it is my very first 35mm lens. I just kind of want to remember that, nothing else. But it's still a very good lens. If you just take picture on the film cameras, it is a very good lens for sure. And if anytime I'm mounting my lenses on my M2 to take film pictures, I will never use the ASPH lenses, because in my opinion, for the ASPH lenses, they're kind of too sharp to use on the film cameras. And if you are taking pictures with film cameras, you just want that vintage look. You don't want that to look like a digital picture. Otherwise, you just use your digital camera to take that. And whenever I'm using my film cameras, I will use something like the 8 Element, which is a very awesome, and also it is a vintage lens, which is very suitable for the film cameras. It looks nice on the film cameras, and in the meantime, it takes amazing pictures. I actually like to pair the cameras with the lenses which are all produced in the similar years, because I think that I can just get to know what the designer is actually want us to have. And I just really don't like the ASPH lenses to be mounted on any vintage cameras, because it looks a little bit off to me. But still, they are good lenses. That's why I keep it, but I still keep some of my vintage lenses for taking film pictures. And so that's roughly the end of the video. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. And overall, they are both very good lenses. The left one, has a very good price point, and also it is solid build. The build quality is actually very nice, and if you don't compare directly to Leica lenses, it is very good overall, because I have used it for a couple months maybe. I have used it for almost 1 year actually, so I think it's still very good. And for the FLE, I don't use it very often as well, because it is too good. There's nothing which is out of my expectation. I know it is good. It does not have the mood. It does not have the mood of the vintage lenses, but it's still very good. But I don't like the size. As you can see, it's giant compared to the Voigtlander. Okay, thank you. Just let me know if you guys have any other questions.